What's up, guys? I hope you're fine. I hope you're amazing. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and in case this is your very first time here, karibu sana. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for your support and thank you for coming back. So in my previous video, the one that is entitled What Happened to Me, I remember I had promised to do a video, a continuation of that, and we had talked in a previous video that this video I'd be doing was about finding yourself after you've lost yourself. If you've not watched the previous video, kindly go back and watch, because you'll not be in a position to understand this video without the previous video. So it's kind of a prerequisite to this video. So I know I had promised to do a video on finding yourself, but based on your suggestions, I'll be changing. Before finding yourself, some of the input that I got was question like, how do I know that I have lost myself? And it actually made sense. You cannot find yourself unless you know that you have lost yourself. So in this video, I'll be talking about how to know that you have lost yourself. You have lost your entire being, you have lost your core. And in the next video, perhaps that's when I'll be doing a video on finding yourself. So let's get going, and this is quite interesting. So how do I find myself? How do I know that I have lost myself? First of all, what exactly is losing yourself? I feel like there's so much more inside of every one of us. There's so much more that is inside you. You're not your name, you're not just a being. There's a purpose that is inside you. There's so much more than what we see. There's so much more that you're made of. There's a core inside you, and there's an essence that involves your entire being, rather what exactly are you? You're not defined by your name, you're not defined by your background, you're not defined by what you're doing, your career, that is, you're not defined by the money that you have, but there's that purpose, is that true, there your interest, there's something that you do and you feel like, yeah, this is exactly what I am meant to do. And if you come to a place, if you get to a point in life where you no longer feel that inner drive to do something, then perhaps you have already lost yourself. And what are the signs, or rather, how would you know that you have lost yourself? So maybe we can discuss like 5 signs or something. So let's get it started. So the first sign to know that you have lost yourself is that you begin to lose interest in the things that made you happy, or rather the things that gave you satisfaction. Perhaps some time back you found fulfillment in things like poetry, you found fulfillment in things like music, things like writing, things like games. Perhaps you found fulfillment. If you're a writer, I use my case for example. If I'm a writer, there's connection that I feel when I write. There's a deep connection I feel with words. We are kind of attached. I'm drawn to it, and once I write, I feel fulfilled. I get to a point where I feel like even without talking, I am able to express myself. And yeah, if there's something that you love doing, you'll agree with me that you don't struggle, it just happens, it's so natural. So the moment you begin to find like you're losing interest in the things that you used to love doing, perhaps it's a red flag. It's a sign that you have started losing yourself, and slowly you'll begin to lose yourself. Maybe you can imagine some of the hobbies you had as a child, or rather as a teenager growing up. Perhaps you enjoyed hanging out with people, doing charity work, but At the moment, even if someone invites you for a charity event, you're not psyched up, it doesn't come natural. And even if you attend, you don't get the same fulfillment that you used to get some time back. So that is one sign. You begin to lose interest in the things that were natural to you, things that used to bring you so much joy, things that made you feel whole, rather, your purpose, rather. Another thing is that that is the first sign. Another sign is that I feel like once you begin to lose yourself, you hate spending time alone. You're going to feel like any moment you're alone, it's boring, you do not enjoy your own company. You're actually scared of spending time alone because it prompts you to think too much about your life, questions. There's something about spending time alone, and I feel like everyone needs some time alone, whether, no matter where you are, whether you're in a relationship or not. Like, I feel it's healthy to have your time alone, to have the time to gather your thoughts, to reflect on your life, to check whatever you're doing, whether it's what you had intended to do. Everyone needs some time alone, because it's in moments when you're alone in solitude that you get to reflect, that you get to connect with your inner self. You get to question yourself. Those deep questions, they prompt you to think and find out what exactly are you up to, what exactly are your plans, are you really going into the right direction. So I feel like it's healthy. But the moment you begin to lose yourself, you hate spending time alone. Thinking that you have to spend time alone, it's like a nightmare. You can't even stand it. You'd rather go out partying, clubbing, just tag along people going for fun activities, because you're not really scared, but yeah, it's actually you're scared because you don't want to face your inner being. You don't want to face your inner self and get to answer those hard questions that your brain prompts you to answer when you're spending time alone. So once you've lost yourself, you always want to be in a crowd. You don't want to get into a situation where you're questioning yourself. So that is the second sign that you have actually lost yourself, and you dread moments alone. You hate spending time alone, and it scares you because you're not ready for the conversations with your soul. And yeah, you've lost yourself, and you're not ready to face yourself and answer those difficult questions that your soul prompts you to answer. So another sign that you've lost yourself is that you begin to lose confidence in yourself. You're no longer confident. Your esteem is so low. So perhaps some time back you were this highly confident person. If you had some values that you were very solid on and you were very candid on, you get to a point where you feel like, no, maybe I should not be doing this anymore. Maybe I'm not enough. Perhaps you are, some time back, you used to believe in your dreams, you used to believe in your goals, you believed that you could get anything that you wanted, you are a go-getter. But then the moment you begin to lose yourself, you start doubting your potential, you start doubting your capability, you begin to question those things that you felt that were achievable at a certain moment. If you felt like some time back rather, you would maybe by a certain age, perhaps you'd get to this, you'd achieve this much, but once you lose yourself, you begin to doubt yourself. You feel like you're not enough, you need something else. But the thing is, actually you're enough. You're just losing yourself, and perhaps you've already lost yourself, and maybe it's time to remember yourself. So that is the third sign, that you lose your confidence, your self-esteem is affected, and You're no longer the person you used to be. As much as you do not want to admit it, the reality is that you've lost yourself and you need to get your confidence back. So we'll do 5 signs so that the video is not that long. So those are already 3 signs. Another sign that you've lost yourself is that most of the times you want to be in a crowd, and whenever you're in a crowd, you do not stand up to whatever you believe in. If you have conflicting thoughts, perhaps you're in a circle of your friends and they're suggesting let's do this, but deep down you feel you're not comfortable doing this, you will not speak out, you'll not call them out. Instead, you're going to just flow with them. If they're in the wrong, you're going to commit the wrong thing simply because you do not want to call them out. You do not have the guts to say no. Once you lose yourself, saying no becomes very difficult. And a sign that you've lost yourself is that you find it so hard to say no, even when you know that you're supposed to say no. So those are 4 signs. And the last sign, so that the video is not that long, the last sign to know that you've lost yourself is that you're in a situation where you no longer believe in your dreams, but rather you believe in the dreams of another person. And this mostly occurs perhaps when you're in a relationship. You find that sometime back you used to believe in your dreams, but then you've gotten into a relationship and then your dreams no longer make sense. You begin to compromise even things that you thought you would not compromise. Perhaps before you got into a relationship, you had certain thoughts about the way you wanted your life to be structured. You had some values, you had your principles that no matter what happened, you saw that you'd never compromise. But then you got into a relationship, or rather you got into a circle of friends, peer pressure, and then the very principles that defined you, they no longer they stop making sense. Rather, you're in a situation where things you held so dear to you, they become meaningless, and these are values that perhaps you have grown up with. These are values that you have held and clung onto for over decades, but then in the wrong company, in the wrong relationship, you let them go. They no longer make sense to you. Once you get into that situation, once you begin to compromise things that you held so dear to, you begin to know that is a red flag. It's a sign that you're losing yourself, or rather you have lost yourself. So those are 5 signs that indicate, or rather that you can use to know that you're losing yourself. And they can also indicate that you have already lost yourself, and that is your inner being. There's that disconnect between who you are and where you are and whatever you're doing and what you're up to in your life. So before finding yourself, you need to know that, you need to admit, and you need to confess and exactly actualize that, agree and admit that you have lost yourself. If those signs are very familiar to you, and if there are other signs that I have left out, feel free to inbox me as you always do. And if you're not comfortable with that, feel free to hit the comment section and comment on what are some of those signs that you know, or that someone can use to know that they have lost themselves. Regardless, if these signs are familiar to you and you feel like you're in that point, the point where you feel like you have lost yourself, there's a disconnect between yourself, do not give up. It's normal, it's a stage, and it's a part of growth. In fact, I guess there's a saying that's saying, there's a saying that goes by, you cannot find yourself unless you have lost yourself. So at the end of the dark tunnel, there's always some light. So do not feel like giving up. Do not be frustrated. That is not the end. In fact, be happy that in the midst of losing yourself, you're going to find yourself. And in the next video, I'll be talking about finding yourself after you have lost yourself. It doesn't matter how far you have lost yourself. It doesn't matter how deep you have gone or how the situation looks, how bad the situation is. Do not judge yourself. Do not be so hard on yourself. Anyone can be found. You can be found, and you will be found. You will find yourself. And as much as you're asking yourself the question, what happened to me? You'll be able to find yourself, and after knowing whatever happened to you, we'll go back to knowing, how can I get myself back? How do I get to remember myself again after forgetting myself? Anyway, let me wrap this video up because it's been too long. And thank you guys. Thank you for watching until the end. And until next time, do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. As always, my name is Purity, and this is a Ms.Matheri show. Bye bye.